Hello, the question here is, should you use a snake or hydrojetting to unclog your drains? We offer both options. So we have essentially the snakes and different types of snakes that we use based on the need and the situation. And we have a trailer that has a massive hydrojet behind it. So what should you use, the snake or the hydrojet? And the short answer is it depends because they're different. Actually, even prior to using a snake, there is an auger, which is more of there's a tool called an auger, which is more of a mechanical tool that sometimes helps us unclog your drain at a very affordable cost. Then the second option is the snake. What the snake is going to do is that it's going to puncture whatever debris is clogging your drains. But it's it's a good solution, but sometimes it's not a long-term solution, especially if there are bigger issues in your drains or if the drains have been accumulating grease or all sorts of debris for a long time. If and obviously the long-term solution is to use the hydrojetting. The way you want to think about the hydrojetting is almost like having pressure cleaning your pipes. It's high pressure water that essentially pushes everything down and it removes all the grease, and it's very effective, and it can even help remove some roots. However, it's not the long-term solution if there is structural damage in your drain, especially in the main sewer line, in which case we're going to have to do either an excavation or use lining to correct for that. Because if, for example, there are several situations that can really be difficult to address, even with the hydrojetting. If you have roots in your main sewer line, for example, those roots, yes, we're gonna remove them with the high pressure water, but they're still gonna be there and they're still gonna come back in, and that is what requires really something more, let's say, invasive, where we need to replace at least a section of your drain line. The other problem is sometimes there is no pitch. So the way you think about the drain line, essentially the water from your home after being used has to flow through the drains into the sewer, the city sewer, or how do you call it, the tank, the septic tank. However, sometimes that pitch is not there. You see the drain go down and go back up, and there's accumulation of water that is always going to be there and always going to be prone. That section is always going to be prone to clogging because it doesn't have the right pitch and things don't flow smoothly through the drain. In which case, what we usually do is do an excavation, remove that section of the pipe, and make sure that the new section has the right pitch. The reality is this: if you have new pipes, those pipes are never normally don't clog, and they last for a very long time. If you have a persistent drain issue, very likely is that there is a structural issue that needs to be addressed. So, just to summarize, we try to go with the auger, which is a mechanical tool that helps us unclog your toilets or your drains. Very basic. If that doesn't work, we use the snake. The snake is more effective. It punctures essentially whatever debris is preventing the water from flowing. If that doesn't work, then we use the hydrojetting, which is very effective. It's a high pressure water that pushes everything down the drain. It's very effective with grease and even with roots to some degree. And then obviously if you have structural issues, then we look at more invasive solutions that require, for example, excavation or other solutions. All right, I hope this is helpful.